the penalty was bad, but the Bengals had an opportunity, kind of like the Niners, right? 3rd and 1. They ended up going for the 4th and 1 and didn't get it. And right before the 4th and 1 play, you from the couch, I feel like we called a perfect game from the couch, said,
I'm an elite couch critic.
Why are the Bengals spreading it out here on 4th and 1?
So dumb. And what happened? Aaron Donald smoked a guard. I mean, it was like, you guys have given up 700 sacks in the last 3 games, and you're going spread 5 wide where you just, leaving Joe Burrow on an island. And to me, the problem with that play is if whatever the route is doesn't hit right away and he can't get rid of it, well, you're not going to have any time. And Aaron Donald, of course, like best pass rusher of the game, goes untouched, and it ruined it. Here's the other thing. On 3rd and 1, they're treating Joe Mixon like he's like a change of pace back. It's like, bro, Joe Mixon's fucking an animal, running guys over. And you go with his Oklahoma teammate, P. Ryan, who in theory is like this smaller, stockier little power back. Wouldn't you just give it to, I don't know, your best running back, number 28? How do you not? That felt a little, it's a little different. This team probably a little more historic, but like the Pete Carroll not going to Reggie Bush in the big spot, going to his big back.
2 carries, no yards for P. Ryan in the game. Joe Mixon was 15 of 72 and felt like he had some great, there was it a 4th down or a 3rd and short before where Burrow, it wasn't a called quarterback draw, but he basically got out of the pocket real quick and ran it. That was before he hurt his knee. I don't know, maybe he was less likely to break the pocket after he hurt his knee, but that was a very disappointing way for that game to end. Even if they didn't get down and score and tie it or win it, that was a pretty disappointing way for the game to end.
Yeah. It really was. I wanted to see at least the kicker get a shot, right? Because he's kind of come into all of our views as this, if you're not a diehard Cincinnati Bengal fan during the season, like he's a star rookie kicker, they would have trotted him out probably, what do you think, 65 and in? Indoor? Flying?
Yeah. What's his long this year? Evan McPherson feels like
he's hit a couple from like 55 that they're like, that's one of those like, would have been good from 65.
Yeah.
They would have given him a shot. And all I wanted to see was, something magical happen. And it kind of, whenever it ends like that, it doesn't quite feel magical. That's where it's like,
he made a 58-yarder.
I have a hard time. It's the longest I heard driving home from your house game-winning drive in the history of the Super Bowl. And I was thinking, they got some extra free plays out of the penalty. It wasn't like a pure 15-play drive, right? But it was a 15-play touchdown drive that ended with the Cooper Kupp touchdown. But to me, it was really like a 10 or 11-play drive with some added fucking fake plays. But, does it feel like Matt Stafford just led them on a magical drive to win the season? It doesn't really.
It didn't. Collinsworth says, basically, in a pressure situation, I'm not sure I've seen it done better than Stafford and Cooper Kupp just did on that drive. And I kind of like, okay. And then they rip off like 5 highlight throws from that drive. And it was pretty sick.
Yeah, he made some awesome throws.
Stat Padford is dead and gone.
Well, he did throw 2 picks in the Super Bowl.
I know, but
they were down. But he answered the bell. You just get the credit when you win the game. That's all.
How many picks did Joe Montana throw in the catch game?
A lot.
Right? Didn't they have like 4? Was it 4 or 5 turnovers?
Yeah, maybe some fumbles too. Yeah.
So
they don't talk about your stat line when you win the Super Bowl.
No. Cooper Kupp was the MVP. It very easily could have been Aaron Donald because he had the stop on 3rd down. He made some plays I thought better than the stat sheet. But ultimately, Sean McVay went to Cabo last year. Matthew Stafford was in Cabo last year, and they just happened to pull off the biggest trade of the NFL offseason, and it won them the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan wanted Matthew Stafford, didn't get him. Other people wanted Matthew Stafford. They didn't get him. Sean McVay got him, and it won him the Super Bowl. And they almost lost to the Bengals, but they didn't. They won the Super Bowl. The Rams, good for McVay, man. He lost it to. If he had lost the Super Bowl, would you be better off having lost in the NFC title game than losing to the Bengals in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it would have been hard to lose to the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Now, I always push back. It is always better to get as far as humanly possible and lose than, it's because Montana always gets talked about. Well, Montana never lost and Brady did. Well, yeah, Montana got bounced. If you watch the documentary, he's getting bounced in the playoffs, right? The Giants beat him. I think maybe the Bears beat him. Like they lost in the first and second rounds other years, right? So you would say that you would, like, for the Bengals, do the Chiefs feel better about themselves today? Like, the Bengals lost.
No, but the Chiefs are no. It would have been different for the Chiefs.
No, I know you're right, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I do, because I think if, let's say, the Niners beat the Rams last week or in the Super Bowl, the Rams are watching this going, we could have been at home in the Super Bowl against that team. You're right. It's better to be there and lose than, but
you'd always rather win the NFC or AFC championship game than not, right? It just would have been tough for McVay. We were talking about it. Kyle lost to Andy and Patrick Mahomes. McVay got his ass kicked by Brady and Belichick. Not really Brady. It was more just Belichick. Like, it's easy to tell someone that. Like, hey, Karl Malone can go, Michael Jordan fucking beat me twice, right? It's another thing, like, who beat you? Zach, the lowest paid coach in the league? Schefter. It's not often, like, he's the lowest paid coach in the league. Like, Zach Taylor's people wanted that shit out there.
John, Bruce Pearl is making more money than Zach Taylor.
How many Pac-12 coaches make less
Football?
than Zach Taylor? Yeah. Can't be many.
That's a good question. No.
Herm.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
I guess Jonathan, I bet there's some coaches that make less.
Yeah, it's probably around that number. Probably 3. Get signed an extension.
Kyle Whittingham, what's he make? 7, 8?
Yeah, he's making good money.
Lincoln.
Obviously, Lincoln's making.
Lincoln clears that in like a week.
So
yeah.
Lincoln Riley loved the halftime show from what I saw on Twitter. But anyway,
doesn't Justin Wilcox make like $4 million at Cal?
Well, he just signed a new contract. I don't know what the number was, but it was, according to reports, more about salary pool for assistants. But
now here's the thing with Zach Taylor, which I will defend. It is hard to call plays when you can't block. And ultimately, he is not the general manager. Their offensive line does stink. And it's hard to find tackles. If Whitworth retires, like, what are the Rams going to do at left tackle? Like, how do you just find a new left tackle? They go, well, we don't, for whatever reason, we don't. We're not in the pool of the other 31 teams that gets on the salary cap. We can do whatever we want, so we'll just sign the sweetest left tackle. That might happen, but it's hard to find tackles. It should not be hard to find guards and centers. It's why it bothers me that Aaron Banks couldn't fucking play. Like, how can this guy not? You draft a second-round guard, he should be immediate plug and play.
yeah,
Because you just see around the NFL all the time, right? Like Aaron Rodgers and his 5th-round center, and this guy and his undrafted free agent guard. I mean, it's Peyton Manning and Tom Brady played with mid to late round centers and guards all the time. Their interior offensive line is equally as bad as their tackles. It's really, really bad. So it's, how do you call pass plays when your best player is your quarterback and your receivers, when you're just like, I don't know if you can get blocked. I mean, at one point in time, it's like 7 sacks. How many sacks did Vrabel's squad have against them? Like 9. I mean, you're talking, almost 20 sacks in a couple game period in the playoffs. It's remarkable they're even able to stay in it. Who we don't talk about is this defensive coordinator that easily is the most under the radar defensive coordinator for a good team in league history. That guy's clearly doing a pretty good job, right?
Lou Anarumo, Staten Island, John.
Yeah, he feels
Wagner
just like a
College.
New York Italian tough guy who loves the fucking blitz.
He was the DB coach for
who's like his mentor?
Which one of the Giant? Part-time running backs coach at Wagner before he moved to the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. He met Joe Philbin at Harvard. He was DB coach under Adam Gase. I don't know, man. Crazy.
So
by the way,
that's. I mean, I've never really heard of this guy.
I mean, this is, last year, or 2019 was his first year calling defense. Wait a second. The Dolphins 2015 team, was that the Mike McDaniel? I mean, the Zach Taylor OC?
Yeah, probably. So
he became the interim DC on that staff.
Well, if I told you this,
when Zach Taylor was the interim OC for Dan Campbell, who was the interim head coach.
If I told you that the Bengals were going to allow 23 points, would Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow have taken that?
Yeah.
Say, hey,
yep.
Can you outscore? Can you score 24 points?
Well, that's why somebody made the point, like the 2nd and 1 play after Burrow hits Jamar Chase, after Jalen Ramsey tries to jump the route, right?
Yeah.
And that brings up a 2nd and 1. And Burrow takes a shot down the right sideline out of bounds, trying to get it to Chase. Then 3rd and 1 is the P. Ryan play that Aaron Donald stops with.
No, I think Chase gets a first down, then he hits a guy over the middle on the next play that gets 9.
Okay.
I think Chase got like 15 yards on that.
Okay,
play.
yeah, you're right. So then he throws out of bounds 2nd and 1. Somebody made the point, like, how the hell, what happened on 2nd and 1? I think that 2nd and 1 play was the example of Burrow kind of adjusted in the game. Like, I'm just getting rid of the football, especially in that situation. I'm not taking a sack. I can't take a sack. The ball's coming out. I mean, with a better offensive line, there's no way he throws it out of bounds. I don't know. We could put a stopwatch on it, but it had to be less than a second and 1.2 seconds after the snap. And he's an athletic guy.
I know.
So before the contract extension that he signed, Justin Wilcox was scheduled to make $3.4 million this year at Cal. So Justin Wilcox, Cal, Zach Taylor, Bengals, Super Bowl, was making $300,000 more than Wilcox was about to make. To give you an idea of how underpaid Zach Taylor is.
So a lot of these Pac, then Washington pays their coach well over $4 million, right? I mean, he doesn't make any money.
Yeah,
he would probably be one of the lower paid Power 5 coaches, don't you think? If you just went Power 5, all the schools, right? The Iowas, the Dukes, the $3.75 million in 2022. And you've always said, like, where does guys have leverage? I just get there's a going rate. That's why I didn't like when we were in radio. It's like, this is fucking the 5th market. There's not just like, I know we aren't these jobs, shouldn't they pay 300, 400, 500 grand? It's like, you cheap fucks. No wonder you're getting your ass kicked. But I think the same with coaching. Like, you go, well, where else was Mike McDaniels going to coach? I agree, but there are industry standards. I'm not saying he should make $10 million, but the going rate for these guys is like $6-7 million, especially now when you factor in college. Because I remember Joe Judge. I mean, wouldn't you guess Robert Saleh? You have multiple teams coming for. I bet Robert Saleh dollars.
Yeah, I mean, you're the head coach of the New York Jets. It's the Jets. The New York Jets. Yeah. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the Rams or Bengals at the moment. I think we're going to see.
It bothered me. I was offended for Zach Taylor.
Odell got hurt. As of this recording, I'm not seeing an official word. How much will that affect next season? Is it an ACL? I mean, that's the assumption everybody makes, right? It's the assumption that I think we made. So what it might mean, though, is they just add him to the team next year halfway through the season.
I mean, it is February 13th. To me, they might have to pivot and go a different route.
Why are all the 49ers tweeting about turf? Like River Craycraft tweeting about it, unsponsored.
I mean, they're just obsessed with the turf because they got hurt at the turf.
Yeah, but Nick Bosa and Kittle both had sponsored tweets.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Are there NFL teams tweeting about it? I'm not even being funny or anything.
I don't know. They're just on a mission. Is it their way of talking shit about the Rams?
I don't know. Maybe. You don't think we're going to get like a midseason February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October is 8 months.
Yeah, I mean, if
the guys are coming back from ACLs, how long did he come back the last time?
I mean, I just don't think you'd have to sign. Like, who's signing him with a torn ACL?
Well, he's going to sign back. I would imagine he re-signs with the Rams, right?
But I'm saying
1 year deal, discount.
What if you're the Rams? You're like, fuck.
Just wait till he's passes a physical.
That'd be a second ACL in 3 years.
Well, could you sign him to like a 1 year, something like 1 year, $8 million? Now they may not have the money to fuck around. But
why wouldn't I just sign a real player?
Yeah,
who could help me immediately? Who's signing him? If he tears ACL, like, to me, he's just not getting signed for a minute, which sucks.
Well, I think he'll end up back on that team.
Probably, but I mean, there is a chance he could be out for the season, right? There's just a second ACL tear. I know it's a different leg, but if it's 10 months, I mean, we're in almost a month 3 of this year, right? There's a chance it cost him his season, given that the Super Bowl is in the middle of February. But you're right. I mean, guys do come back faster, but you just second ACL tear, which is honestly kind of sad because he is a fun player to watch and he was getting kind of good again.
Well, it felt like it was the last, like you said it while we were watching the game, the last 2 weeks.
If I was them, I would want a real fucking player to help me now. Like, they're going to need, You saw today when they lost him, like they need help. I could see them. They almost traded Robert Woods during the season, but now his trade value because he's injured and he makes some money. They need some more offensive talent. You know?
Yeah.
I guess Higbee was hurt too. Akers will be back, and they'll be fine.
So, old for a player, young for a coach, McVay, who just turned 36, won a Super Bowl. And you mentioned it earlier, though, he had a couple quotes about not wanting to, not see his kids, unborn children one day and burned out by 60, that kind of thing. And it became this thing about, is Sean McVay about to retire, or is Sean McVay going to try and...
Well, no, it didn't become... Those were the headlines making the internet. Like, that's the headlines that SI, that Roto World, like, they wrote McVay's contemplating retirement. I was like, what? They threw me off. Well, you've always said this, and you're right. I would never do a print article interview because they just take your words out of context. I mean, that's not even debatable at this point anymore. Because you read the article, it's like, he didn't say he was going to retire.
He did not even say he was contemplating retirement right now.
He just acted like, I don't want to be one of those guys that at 60, well, he's 36. So if you did the math, like if retirement would be at the retirement age. And I did see some other people like, he knows what he's doing. Stan's got big cash. He's time for get a contract extension. I don't even... if you read his words, he sounded pretty innocuous, normal conversation. Like, it's just, the shit's a grind. Like, do you think all coaches kind of talk like that?
Is Stan about to, like, play hardball in some contract negotiation with Sean McVay?
Would it shock you if they gave Sean McVay $20 million, like 5 years, $20 million a year? Like 5 years, $100 million? I
mean, why not give him 10?
What?
Why not give him 10 years?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, don't you expect if Sean McVay gets a contract, it's the highest per year in the history of football? Like, that's how it gets announced type deal?
Yeah.
Because one, he's in LA, so everything's way more expensive. So if, like, you're making 15, like Sean Payton in New Orleans, the going rate, inflation, the cost of living, it's why it cost Lincoln, they had to pay a lot of money. I would say the number is probably in the range of $18 to $20 million. Like, that's what I would expect the number to get. And especially, like, even if it did just rattle Stan a little bit, having McVay as part of your brand is a pretty big deal. I think just for their whole operation. He, to me, still feels like, Aaron Donald's their best player, but Sean McVay, like Kyle Shanahan, when you say LA Rams, who do most people think of? Sean McVay, right?
Yeah, I think he's the face of their franchise.
Yeah.
Well, how much is Bill Belichick making? And whatever it is,
people always acted like it's $20-25 million or something.
Well, whatever it is, the Patriots don't think twice about it,
Think
and
how much money
the other
he made
problem,
the Crafts, right?
Here's the other problem: is like, what would McVay get if he signed to Monday Night Football next year, or if Amazon got word that McVay was interested, what would they offer him?
$20 million.
Yeah, it would have to be to me more than Romo, because Romo was on the couch when they signed Romo. This guy has a job. So, and Romo's making what, $17 million now? Now that's his second. That wasn't his first deal, right? That was somehow Romo signed an extension like after year one. Gotta re-up. But he's not going anywhere. And the Aaron Donald one, to me,
that was just Rodney Harrison saying it. It feels like maybe during like a pump sesh, they trained with a similar guy, and Aaron's like, "This is a grind. Like, if I win, I might go out on top, dog." And he just dropped that line to his trainer, like mid-pump this week.
Julio on the stream says, McVay to Amazon, you heard it here first. Exactly. Aaron Donald asked about it immediately after the game by Michelle Tafoya, because Michelle's like, for the record, Aaron, I am retiring. So will you be joining me in retirement? Michelle's not like tiptoeing around any questions in her final interview, right? Are you retiring? And he's like, I'm just being in the moment right now. Which, again, would be what you would probably say anyway. But he didn't say, I'm going to try and run it back again. Like, why didn't he say that? So he's almost 31. Aaron Donald retiring would be, I'll tell you right now, there are group chats around the NFC West, offensive line groups. Like, Alex Mack's like, I was going to retire, but if Aaron's leaving, I'd come back for another year, right? People are praying Aaron Donald retires. Interior linemen and exterior linemen around the NFL praying. Like, why would he leave right now?
Yeah, it'd be one of the craziest stories ever. He would be. Is he going to be aren't they going to be pretty heavy favorites to win it again? I know.
Yeah,
I saw the numbers. but it's just they're going to easily be a top 2 or 3 team. They're going to be. We were talking before we hopped on. Their over/under number feels like it's going to be like now you got to add half game, maybe like 11, right, with the 17-game schedule.
Yep.
There's a chance if Brady stays retired, and Rodgers is traded from the Packers, is their over/under the highest in the NFC? Has to be, right? They just won the Super Bowl. They got all these sweet players coming back. Brady's gone. The Niners have a new quarterback, right? If Rodgers is gone, the Packers is going to fucking dip dramatically.
Well, you could argue there may not be the closest team who
Cowboys,
would be even
maybe?
within a game of them.
I can see the Cowboys could just rack up double-digit wins in the division.
Yeah, maybe. Depends on what happens at some point. Let's say the Eagles trade for Russ or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Then maybe they
Deshaun
could get up
Watson
there.
or something.
But you're right. No one's going to be higher than the Rams, which it's not a crazy thing for returning. Although the story was today that the Packers are prepared to offering Aaron $50 million a year.
Yeah, all cash. But like 2 years, 100 million, all cash.
Yeah. Which
But
again,
then I also saw people like, this is just the Packers knowing they just got to throw this out there so they look like the good guy. Well, we know they're going to offer him a lot of money. Like, it's just, you're doing negotiating through Twitter. Like, it's just, he's either going to leave or not.
Also, if they're throwing it out there and they're offering it to him, then yeah, they get credit for that. If they're offering him $50 million, then they get credit for that.
That'd be pretty crazy if he declines $50 million.
I mean, I know.
Did you see some of his MVP speech when he
I did. It
about
felt
LaFleur?
very kind of.
But also just like how much. Well, the crazy thing about him leaving, it feels like he's pretty genuine about his like for that guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he went out of his way to like. He would not have done that for old Chubbs, right? He wouldn't even have mentioned him. But do you think he went over the top because he knows, like, hey, man, you were a big part of helping my career get back to the top, and I'm out, but I fucking love you.
It definitely, that speech felt like I'm out, is what it definitely felt like. Yes.
I mean, everyone just assumes he's going to Denver.
I'm going out with class, unlike the way everyone thought I was going to go out. Like, I'm going out with class. And I'm going to kiss everyone's ring on the way out, and maybe you guys will just do what I'm asking you to do, which is let me go. Last year he tried to force his way out. This year he's going to try and kill him with kindness.
What if you would have ended with Peyton? You got a real estate agent for me?
Peyton's already got a guest house. I'm going to stay in the Peyton's Monday Night Football Manning Cast garage.
I mean, it feels like if I tell you he's not on the Packers and he ends up anywhere else, not the Denver Broncos, that story feels like would be the craziest thing, right?
Yeah, I mean,
wouldn't you say everyone thinks he's going to the Denver Broncos?
Yeah.
He's just going there with our guy from UC Davis, bald guy, and they're just going to fucking try to win.
Which,
you're like, why would he want in on the AFC West? Like, I don't think he gives a shit. He's just fucking planning on going there and winning 10, 11 games.
Well, I mean, think about, like, look at the division he's in.
Well, that's the point. He's going from this really easy division to a hard division.
Yeah, but I mean, if he wants to leave the division he's in, then he doesn't care what's in whatever division he's going to.
Yeah. Do you think the cowboy boots was like a subliminal message to everybody?
Denver, you think? Like Rocky Mountain?
Yeah,
cowboy
like
boots?
I could hop on a horse.
Tan suit?
In the Rockies if I needed to.
It did feel kind of Rocky Mountain. You're right.
Yeah. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado.
Rocky Mountain Oysters, Colorado.
Peyton, see you soon.
I
don't even feel like him and Peyton would even be buddies, but
no, I don't think so either.
Peyton goes to all the games, so if you're Peyton, you just want Aaron there, so at least when you're going to the games, they're winning, right? Peyton's a pretty loyal Denver Bronco fan. He takes his kid to like all the home games. If I was him, I just don't think I would go to all these home games. Might go to like one a year, but it's like, Peyton, you're going to give 8 or 9 of your Sundays every year just to go to Denver Bronco games when they're a 7-win team? Like, that's impressive. Are they paying you to do this? Are you doing this just because you enjoy football? And it might just be that simple. Like, he actually really enjoys going. His son, it's just a cool father-son moment, bonding moment. But if I was in Peyton's shoes, especially during the Vic Fangio era, max 2 games a year. I feel like he went to every single game the last like 3 years.
He just loves game day.
Yeah.
I think he loves game day, and that's.
It's an easy excuse to hang out with your son, and do something
it's
fun.
the same like you go to some town, you're like, who's that over there in the stands? Like, oh, that's Manny Henderson, MVP in 1947, comes to all the Little League games, just loves the ball.
Yeah, it's just a higher level, right?
So you just, when it's in your blood, it's in your blood. I don't know. What else about the Super Bowl? The halftime show, the game itself. Stafford, McVay, Cooper Kupp, Taylor Rapp engagement afterwards, Joe Burrow. You and I were laughing during the game because you're like, the Bengals had the lead, and you said, is Joe Burrow about to have as many championships as Patrick Mahomes? And I go, and Russell Wilson? And then I could see in your eyes you're about to say it. I spewed it. And Aaron Rodgers? Now, is he going to be back ever? I mean, the AFC is a bear.
That was a big sports radio topic on my 20-minute drive from your house. It was
What,
a lot
will he
of
ever be back?
Yeah, you assume young teams when they get their opportunity, and then you start looking around, like people will pick the Rams to get back because look at the NFC, look at the AFC. Like you're just going to beat Mahomes again on the road? You think Josh Allen's going anywhere? You think if Herbert's coach just doesn't go for it in every fourth down, they should be pretty fucking good. Lamar Jackson, like say what you want about Lamar Jackson, when he's healthy, he's pretty good, right? I mean, are they just gonna? Do you think they're going to win? I'm not trying to talk shit about them because it was an incredible story. I will be stunned if they win the AFC North next year.
Well, I mean,
stunned is strong. I will not pick them to win the AFC North.
Who are you going to pick? The Ravens?
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard. I mean, that's just a tough division.
The Browns?
What if Steelers get old Jimmy?
I think Joe Burrow is everything we think he is, and Jamar Chase is everything we think he is. The reality is they needed Jamar Chase and Penei Sewell. But they don't need Penei Sewell, as you said earlier. They just need to upgrade a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to be back. I'm not saying they're going to beat the Bills and the Chiefs. But I do think they're going to be good for a little while. I mean, I think Joe's...
No, I'm not saying they're not going to be good. I think they're going to be a playoff contender. But to just like home playoff games... If you told me they're in the playoff mix the next 2 of the next 3 years but don't have a home playoff game, that wouldn't be that shocking.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's success. You just put yourself in that mix enough with your quarterback being as good as he is, and he's clearly really good.
You knew he's drafting pick 32?
The Lions?
The Lions.
Wait, so they get 2 and 32?
They get their pick, and then they get the Rams pick.
Well, they're drafting second, right?
Yeah, they're picked.
Oh, could you imagine if they had 1 and 32?
That'd be pretty unreal. But it's like this: should the Lions be proud? Like, hey, we're drafting 32, or like that kind of sucks. We traded Matt Stafford, got picked 32.
It's pretty crazy when you have the quarterback and you're like, yeah, we can't figure out how to rebuild it around the star quarterback. So somebody else, you take him and win the championship with him. Who does that?
Well, the Lions. The Lions. That's. If I'm a Lions fan, tonight kind of stung. Like he fucking 1 year, 4 playoff victories and a Super Bowl championship. The guy's got a ring. 1 year, and what'd you get back for him? Pick 32. Pick 32.
Injured Goff.
Pick 32. It's the thing. Like you trade these sweet fucking players, and the player goes to a good team. That pick sucks.
Wait, so they got what pick did they last year from them? They got
they got they don't get it
23.
last year. Yeah, but
so
I mean
we're a 1 this year and a 1 in 2023. Ugh.
Which probably be somewhere between 25 and 32.
Ugh. And Jared Goff, are you kidding?
That sucks.
Now the money was a part of it, right? They were taking on a lot of money, but
who was?
I mean, if you were the Rams, you were taking on his money, and then they had some of Goff's. Like, obviously not all the Goff.
You're also taking on Goff's money, too, right? You had to pay Goff this year.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it's just not that was just a factor, I guess. I don't, how do you really conceptualize trading Goff in 2-1s for this guy who's
sucks?
Really good. Like, they won the championship because Matthew Stafford was their quarterback.
100. Are they they're probably in the playoffs with Jared Goff. Are they in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think, well,
9-ish wins?
Would they have? Yeah, what would they have done if they didn't get Stafford? Would they have run it back? It feels like McVay would have tried to find a way to get somebody else as his quarterback.
Yeah, he couldn't look at, we all have those moments with someone personally or professionally where you just can't look at him, and it felt like that's where he was. And he tried to apologize for it retroactively later, but I saw your true colors, Sean. I don't blame you. Like, listen, scouts have this, coaches have this. For whatever reason, Sean was proven right. Right?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of this, and I've seen it on Twitter, and Daniel just said it. Goff is drying his tears with his 1,000 count sheets. I mean, Jared, it'd be one thing if, like, Stafford, you know what I mean? Like, as much as it sucks to see your former team probably win the championship, like, Stafford is why they won the championship. So, I don't know. It'd be different than, like, them replacing you with your backup.
Their defense is good, right?
No, I'm not saying Stafford's the only reason why. I'm just saying they don't win it without Matthew Stafford.